Hi my dearest readers, this is Simona Rich, and in this video I would like to speak about my relationship update. This guy is so incredible, he's so understanding, and as I told in another video, he helps me to heal because when I was dating the guy that I also told you about, who was a psychopath, he inflicted so many wounds, and after him I was completely celibate, and I thought that my wounds were completely healed, but they were not. But because there were no situations with, how to say, those wounds did not show themselves because there was no opportunity to. But now, as I'm in a relationship again, as I told in another video, I see that there are many unhealed wounds, and this made me realize that it's through the relationships that some wounds only can be healed. And as I again told already, this guy helps me to heal those wounds through his love and understanding. He's so understanding, and this is the reason mainly why I wanted to make this video, is to let you know that we have tied our lives together spiritually. And I knew already that there is spiritual marriage, and I cannot guarantee whether it's like something to do with soulmates. But if you have this spiritual perception, you will know that some people are married spiritually. So for example, when I was dating my ex-boyfriend who was a psychopath, I kept seeing him with another woman, and that was his spiritual wife. And so he already tied his life to another person, but then he was dating me, and I got warnings that it's not good to be with him because he's already tied with someone else. And I think that now it happened to me, that I tied my life with this guy, and I do not know whether we are soulmates or not. I don't know whether such thing exists. All I know is that we are one, we became one, and I'm more leaning towards the understanding that it's not, I know some people will disagree with me, and maybe it's true, maybe you really have someone, some soulmate of yours, but I'm more leaning towards the understanding that if you are free, if you're not tied with anyone, you have not made previous spiritual marriage, you are completely free, and then you meet someone who is also completely free and you fall in love, this is when you have, you are, how to say, you get married to that person spiritually. So if you both love each other, and if you are completely free from other bonds. And that's why I got a dream, and I did not tell that in another video, but I wrote about it, that after our lives were tied spiritually, I got a dream that I no longer belonged to my father, that the father went away from my life. So this is again something very interesting, and in ancient cultures this understanding still remains, but it's exploited, and females are treated like second-class citizens. They don't have any freedom. After living with the father, they get married and live with the husband like children. They have no freedom. But I think that this perverted current understanding in Asian cultures actually stems from the fact, spiritual fact, that as a woman, and I don't know about men, but I'm a female, so I can speak for females, that as a woman you are tied to your father, and then when you fall in love with a person who is also not tied with another woman, and that person is free, you really become one flesh, you become one soul. So this is what happened to me with this guy. And I hurt him already, and it was due to a misunderstanding, and it was totally my fault, and I really was convinced that it was his fault. But then I kept rewinding this in my mind, kept reviewing this in my mind, because the tarot cards show him to be good. The signs were all that he was good. And then I also felt that I'd hurt him, and I felt it in my heart, because our hearts are connected. I felt that he misses me. I felt his pain, and I could not understand if it's indeed his fault. Why do I feel like this, and why all the signs are against my feeling, my understanding that it was his fault. And actually I figured it out that it wasn't his fault, that it was my fault. And so I apologized to him, and he was so good. Other people would have probably left me, but he was so understanding. His love is as strong as ever. So I'm blessed with such a man. And I also need to tell you that you have to be very careful, and you have to really think whether you want to tie your life to someone else, because then you really become one. And if in case that guy is free and you're free, or that girl is free and you're free, because then your well-being will also depend on another person. If he's bad, you will feel down. If you're really tied spiritually also, because then you become one, and you will feel his misery. You will, if you choose the wrong person, it's going to be a life full of suffering. But I believe that the guy I'm with, he is the right person for me, because his natal chart shows it. The tarot card shows that he's right. And of course, the relationship is going to be painful, and it's mainly because of traumas that I experienced with my ex-psychopath, because of my insecurities in relationship. But I really feel that my celibacy days have ended, and I no longer want to stay alone. I want to be with this guy, and this is going to be very, very, this relationship will be full of lessons. But I really want to stay with him. I no longer want to be alone. So that's what I wanted to update you about. Think very carefully whether you want to tie your life with someone else, because if you're really free, you're not spiritually married to anyone, and that other person is not spiritually married, and you really love each other, your hearts will tie and you will become one. So there is truth in the Bible about this, that the wife, actually I think it's told that the husband will leave his family and become one flesh with his wife. I don't remember, but it might also apply to a guy, that he belongs to like his mother, and then he becomes tied with wife. So maybe it's the same with men. And women belong to their fathers, and then they become tied to their husbands. Maybe this is something, maybe it's the same for both. So I think that's all I wanted to share with you. When we are together, we shine. People say that we look different, we look better. We exchange the energies. I receive his energy, he receives my energy, and this is very beneficial for both of us. We really, when we are together, we feel like we are in heaven. And then when, because of me, we had an argument, I posted a picture of me waiting for my flight to Sri Lanka, and you can see I look like half of my soul is not there. And when I was making a video about the moon, the influence of the moon, that's also the occult information about the moon. Also that time it was that tough period, and you can see that half of me is not almost there. So that's the impact when you tie your life together. And I suffered those days so much, and misfortunes would happen to me, and I thought, why am I being punished if this is his fault? But actually it was my fault. It was my fault, and it was due to my insecurities, and also the fact that my natal chart shows that I cannot see my relationships clearly because of the influence of Neptune. And if you check your natal chart and if you see that Neptune is in your house of marriage or in any way aspects Venus, then be careful, because you will not be able to see the relationship in the real light, because Neptune gives it can give deceptive visions and deceptive and not real, not true understanding. So or like if Mars is involved, just look for any planets of illusion or malefics targeting your planet Venus or the 7th house. So because of the way that the planets were arranged when I was born, the relationships is the toughest. Intimate relationships is the toughest part of my life, the toughest. I will just not be able to see intimate relationships in my life in a clear way. This is the area of my life that Neptune blinds. So I'm very blessed with this guy who is full of understanding and who forgave me, and whose love is so strong, and my love is so strong to him. And I'm really blessed, and he's really healing me, and even his natal chart shows that he is a natural healer. So I'm very, very happy to have him in my life. But all I can say is be careful. Make sure you're tying your life with the right person, because when your hearts are tied, I think it's for life. And I never tied my heart with anyone else, because although I was in love with that guy I told you about, the psychopath one, he was already tied to someone else, so we could not tie our lives together. He was already taken spiritually. But this guy, he tied my life to his life to my life. Our hearts are one. I think our souls merged, because we experience so many identical things. Like one day I spilled drink all over my t-shirt, and several hours after he experienced the same thing, and we were actually separate. He was working, I was taking a walk, and identical things happened to us in a space of several hours. And for example, I know his thoughts, he knows my thoughts when we are very close together. And also sometimes we text identical or very similar messages to each other at the same time. Things like this happen every single day. So I believe that our souls have merged. So all I can say is be careful, make sure you find the right person. And this is all everything I wanted to share. I have, I think, shared in this video with regards to my relationship. So thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Take care.